Just your average everyday trucker, keeping it real. I'm your host, Chris Blodgett, and you're listening to Real Talk Tuesday.
This week's topic is going to be internet, but especially social media trolls. This is episode 130. Hey guys, welcome back. As always, appreciate you being here. First of all, I do want to apologize for my absence last week. I ended up being off the whole week, most of the week anyway. I did have some of that actually planned. I had requested PTO for 2 days after my regular days off, so I'm normally off Sunday, Monday. I'd requested Tuesday and Wednesday off because Wednesday was actually my birthday. I was actually turning 42 on that day, and after going through the hell that was peak season, which is basically through the holidays or whatever, for the 2 months of like November and December, really didn't have much for days off each week. Kind of had just had like a half a day off, because normally, especially when I'm working such long nights, working overnights, getting back home at like sometimes 9, 10, 11, hell, even sometimes I've gotten home at like noon on Sunday, and then technically that's one of my days off. So I'd usually get home, go to sleep for like 4 or 5, probably like 5 hours, catch at least a 5-hour nap, because I could usually function somewhat okay after 5 hours. But I catch like a 5-hour nap, and then get up and try to relax and enjoy the rest of my first day off, and then I'm off all day on Monday, and then I go back to work on Tuesday. So that's pretty much what I normally do. But that week, I had enough PTO for roughly about 2 days, because they factor in about like 8-hour PTO per day or whatever. So if I use PTO for 2 days, basically even though a normal work day, you'd figure normal work day for me is usually like 12, 14, 16 hours, but when you're using PTO, they factor in like 8 hours. So a little bit less than what I normally make on a day, but it's better than nothing. So it makes it, the ability to be able to take a day off, get paid for it, and try to relax, whatever. So it's kind of what I did. I had put in a few weeks out for Tuesday and Wednesday off. Figured I'd be back to work on Thursday. So kind of, just kind of chilled out and enjoyed my days off for the most part on Sunday through Wednesday. Wednesday, my wife had made a cake. It was a true crime cake because one of my favorite podcasts is basically the Crime Junkie podcast. You can check them out on, if you go to audiochuck.com. They have a bunch of podcasts they do. So I'm currently listening to one of theirs called The Deck, in between, because I'm all caught up on the Crime Junkie podcast episodes. So I'm kind of listening to their one's called The Deck, which is another true crime podcast. So kind of enjoying that. But so I came up upon, well, actually it's funny, I got a missed call from my boss on Wednesday, and trying to think, I think it was Wednesday when I got a call from him. And basically I didn't answer the phone because I'm like, hey, I'm technically off, I requested today off. And then he texted me, he goes, hey, you put in for PTO today, right? Like, yes sir, I did. I was like, Tuesday and Wednesday, I just turned 42 today. He goes, oh, happy birthday, I turned 41 on Saturday. I'm like, oh, cool, happy birthday to you too, boss. And I said, yep, back at it tomorrow. He goes, all right, cool. So the next day, basically went all day Thursday, didn't hear crap from my boss, and messaged him probably about, like, I don't know, 9:45. I was like, well, I guess FedEx is slow today. He goes, oh, I totally forgot you were coming back today. Okay, so I guess I'm not working on it. So Friday came along, and about 9:45 at night, I got a text from him basically saying that, well, Nashville will probably be calling you shortly, or you might call you in a little bit. Okay. So my oldest had actually gone out of town for a couple days, flew down to Georgia to see her boyfriend, and then they were going to be driving back up here Saturday, so they were going to have Valentine's Day together and stuff. So our game room, kind of where my oldest daughter has been crashing lately, because she doesn't actually have a working bed, So technically she has like her bed right now consists of like I think it's more like a futon mattress, kind of. It's kind of been on the floor, but for the past couple months, like, my grandson sleeps in his bed, but then my oldest kind of has been crashing on the couch in the game room. It's interesting, but so that game room has actually been available for the past couple of days, so that's been pretty nice, because my youngest has been back in there, and I kind of showed her how to, because I set up, before my oldest started sleeping in the game room, I had set up Netflix on the PlayStation 3 up there, because her and her son's technical room is down here. We kind of turned the dining room into their room, kind of separated and whatnot, with curtains and whatnot. They got it set up like a bedroom in there, but he has a bed, she doesn't. When she moved back here or whatever. So but I had set up Netflix on the PlayStation upstairs, figuring that I didn't, my days off, I don't want to necessarily keep her up by me being out here in the family room watching Netflix, enjoying my drinks until really late or whatever. So I'd set up Netflix up there, figuring on my days off I would go up to the game room and I'd enjoy my drinks up there, watch Netflix till like 2 or 3, whatever, like 3, sometimes 4 a.m. since I work nights. And literally I set that up, and like the next weekend she was crashing in the game room. I was like, well, crap. So when she went out of town, because for the most part she would always have her Switch connected upstairs. We have a couple switches ourselves, and then she has her own. So she had hers connected to the TV up there, and she'd play her games, whatever. when she left, I switched the TV over to the PlayStation to show my youngest. It's like, all right, cool. So it's on this channel, and here's where you go on the PlayStation to access Netflix, because it's already set up, it's already connected. All you have to do is open it, whatever, select which profile you want to get on there. And so she put on Netflix on there, and she was watching quite a few different movies on that. So like, when I got that text at like 9:45 from my boss on Friday night, I got that text, and then I was already sitting upstairs. My wife had gone up to go to bed, and I was sitting up there in the game room with my youngest watching I think the movie she put on was Carry On. It's a pretty good movie if you guys haven't watched it. I'd actually seen it before with my wife, but my youngest put it on. I was like, I think I've seen this before, And I was already sitting just sitting up there chilling out. And I went ahead and just stayed in that room and kind of just hung out, So but didn't really worry about it too much, like literally it was I think when she started that movie, it was like 10:30, 10:40. We're watching it. Of course I look over towards my daughter and I'm like, so apparently, Nashville might call me soon, but it's been like 45 minutes. So I have a feeling I'm not going to get called tonight. She goes, yeah, probably not. So pretty much we watched that whole movie. It was like 11-ish when 11:15 when that ended. And so I kind of, then I came down here, threw on, the series I'm watching on Netflix and kind of hung out, and then Saturday I did run a load, and then Sunday I was off again for my 2 days. So it's been like, all right, this is very interesting week, so tonight technically is my last night of my 2 regular days off, technically back to work tomorrow. I asked him on Saturday, I said, so this is very interesting schedule with FedEx because, I haven't had a full week in the past month. And he goes, yeah, it's been weird. It's actually been switched like Saturday. It's been busy Saturday through Wednesday, and then usually not a whole lot on Thursday and Friday, but hopefully it should switch back soon. And I'm like, well, I'm on Glassdoor, I'm on Indeed, so I am just pretty much keeping my self available, I guess. Keep my eyes open for possible other jobs. Not necessarily around here because we're actually looking. We'd love to relocate, go like Kansas or something. But I don't want to necessarily leave my current job and go to another job here. Like if I'm going to be here, if we end up buying a place here, I'll just stay where I'm at. I'll work my current job and I'll do DoorDash anytime I'm not working. What I did last week though was, even though I didn't work Thursday and Friday, I didn't go out there and DoorDash. I didn't DoorDash on any of the days that I was off, Sunday through Wednesday. Mainly, even though I could have made extra money, but I kind of told myself like, nope, this week, the days that I requested off were literally for me to relax, for me to wind down, for me to literally take some much needed R&R because of having those 2 months where I was slammed. Could I have used the extra money? Hell yeah. But, I wasn't going to worry about it. So, yeah, I pretty much didn't worry about it. I thought, you know what, I could go out and DoorDash, but I'm just going to hang out, stay up late, watch my show, and just relax, just to, enjoy the time off. And I told myself that the next week, this week that we're going into right now, that any downtime I have, that I'll go ahead and go out there and I DoorDash and make some money. I used part of what I had Technically, it's saved up in my DoorDash account for the earnings and the orders I've delivered to start the stuff I needed to do with my truck. Because I bought tires for it a little while back. Before I think it was right after I started DoorDash, I went ahead and got the tires. Thank God for those finance options, because I'm paying weekly on them. But they're really good tires, better tread, really good condition, should last a long time. I had really good tires on my truck currently. I think they're like Michelin, whatever, but I've had those on there for like at least 3 years, if not longer. So they've seen a lot of miles. They've seen a lot of action, So but so yeah, and I'm just watching my my percentage on my computer. Should have plugged my computer in and charged it. Apparently I just put it in sleep mode, I just closed it down and didn't actually shut it off. So when I went to boot it up to go ahead and maybe get some recording done on this podcast, it was like 10% on the battery. It's like your computer is gonna power down without any, if you don't plug it in soon. I'm like, oh crap. So my initial thought, I thought, well, let me bring it downstairs, and I think there's probably a plug down here I can plug into. And I'm like, I haven't been able to find it. So I think the other option was leave it plugged in upstairs for a little bit, get a little bit of juice on it, and then bring the computer down and go ahead and do the episode. I was like, yeah, but that would be, I kind of want to get it done now. So oh well. But so anyway, so yeah, that's why the first part of this episode is mainly just talking about being off this past week. I thought about doing an episode how some, especially on like Crime Junkie or some of those other ones, like Ashley and Britt, they usually will at the end of the episodes they'll be like, by the way, Ashley and I, or Britt and I, are off this next week, but we will be back with a brand new episode on the following week. So you guys have a great one, blah blah blah. I didn't think about that when I did my last episode. I should have, because I came up on Monday night and I was like, oh crap, I gotta do an episode this week. And I was like, well, whatever, I'll just, not a big deal, I'm off this week, I'll just, come back next week. I'll make sure to get back at it next week. I had intended on doing an episode last week, but it just didn't happen, so I apologize about that, guys. And then, of course, I thought about doing 2 episodes for you guys this week because of tonight's topic I was kind of passionate about. But, of course, that just didn't happen. So, you guys, thankfully, I'm at least getting one in for you guys, and then I'll be back, obviously, to regular episodes every week. So it's all good. So just like I'll be back to DoorDashing this week, making some money on the side and use that money a little bit, make a little bit here, make a little bit there, and using that money to do what work needs to be done to my Ram. Like I did the oil change on Sunday, technically. When I got off that morning and I was on my way home, I thought, should I DoorDash a little bit? I was like, nah, I'm glad to just go home and sleep, because I had a weird morning that morning. My grandson was being dropped off at 1 in the afternoon by the other grandparents. And I think I got back like 8:30 something, 8:30, 9 o'clock. And I went ahead and I swung through this place called Take 5 Oil Change. And I went ahead and, paid the $100 and something, because I get like 2 extra quarts. I think I do like 6 quarts in my truck, and usually the oil changes cover 4, so that's an extra, you pay extra per quart for 80 extra quarts. So got the oil change taken care of. They're like asking me questions, hey, are you gonna do like the differentials? And I'm like, I wasn't planning on it. But it's like, yeah, you got to do your differentials. It's like kind of like an oil change, but you got to change the oil or whatever in the axles or whatever after a certain point, because otherwise the gear, the stuff wears down. I'm like, all right, well, I can't do it yet, but like, oh yeah, and they showed me the air filter too. And so like, oh yeah, your air filter, like, this is pretty dirty, needs to be changed. The air filter they were showing me was still pretty white, so I was kind of confused. Because I've had, I think when I took in, we have a Mazda, like a Mazda 5 that's in storage, has some repairs I need to do to it because it got vandalized. Plus, it has a title loan on it, so it's not like I can just get rid of it anyway. But, when I've done the oil change on that and stuff in the past, and they took out the air filter for that one was actually like kind of a brown, like a dark gray. So you could tell that air filter definitely needed to be changed. But the one they showed me with my truck, it was like, I know I've changed it. It hasn't been that far back. Maybe like last summer, possibly. Not the current summer we went through, but maybe the previous one. I know I believe he changed like once a year, I think. So it hasn't been that, like the oil change was way overdue. I'll admit that was like 15,000 miles overdue. I just hadn't gotten around to doing that. But like, we've done the Jeep, my wife's Jeep. We've done the, my daughter's, my youngest car, the one that she basically was given by my parents. It used to belong to my grandfather. It's like a 92 Buick, Park Avenue. We did the oil change on that. We've done the coolant flush and that. I just haven't done anything so I kind of put my truck off a little bit, but now I'm like, okay, I'm doing DoorDash, so I gotta start working on, up doing the maintenance on my truck. I can't let it slip anymore. I gotta get it done. So, but so did the oil change. I said, hey, can you like notate on the bills or on the receipt, like what the recommendations that you guys recommend, so that way I can remember, hey, this needs to be done, that needs to be done. I know I've got the tires. I just gotta have those put on. I want to do the brakes, gotta do the differentials, gotta do a new air filter, stuff like that. But since I'm also doing DoorDash, I'm treating my technically my truck is an asset. It's a business stuff. So I gotta Google and figure out what all can I what all stuff can I write off, on taxes and stuff. So that way I can make sure that I'm, keeping receipts for all the necessary things, and that way when it comes time and I report earnings, I can also say, well, I did this tires, I did these maintenance on the truck, I did this and that, whatever, and I can write all that stuff off. So, but anyway, on that note, let's go ahead and dive into today's topic. Sorry for the ramble, but again, with not being around last week, you guys get a little bit more of me this week. A little bit more of not just the topic, but some random stuff. So anyway, just bear with me real quick. 1 second. All right, so I love the fact that when you're recording, especially with the way I do it now with using my condenser mic that I got for Christmas from my wife, and I record on my computer now. I used to actually record while I was actually out there, doing my job. I'll record with my headset, my Bluetooth headset connected to my phone. It worked for the longest time, but then of course for a while I was actually looking into getting myself a mic and actually starting to record at home, but I hadn't actually found, I saw a lot of good mics, but I hadn't really been able to pull the trigger on one. And then I guess when we had when we all opened presents on Christmas, I was surprised when I opened a present and it was like a condenser mic, because my wife knows that I do this podcast. So I know when I first started it for a little bit, at the very beginning, I know she was kind of not. I mean, she was supportive, but she wasn't a very big believer because she probably, I don't know, maybe she thought it was just a hobby or something. But by the time Christmas rolled around, I think it was I was over 100 episodes at that point. And so obviously she could tell that I'm serious about it. I'm here to stay. It's going to be around for, unless something happens to me or whatever. This podcast is going to be around for a while. I plan to keep it going, eventually figure out how to monetize and all that fun stuff. So, but I love being able to, because I know with the phone it was a little more tricky. Like if I had to stop for a minute and come back to it, I would literally have to stop the recording and then do a separate recording. And basically I would just label the first one part 1 and then second one part 2, and then when doing my edits have to put both those different audio files together and all that fun stuff. But it's a little easier doing it from the computer, honestly, because at the 22-minute mark on this episode, my computer, because I left it on sleep mode instead of turning it off early part of last week, and the battery percentage was already down a little bit. So if it was fully charged, it would have been a big deal. But it was down to like 20 or 19% when I technically closed it up, because I'd pull it out during my PTO days trying to figure out if I could get a story together, to start working on the Storytime Friday episodes, but of course I wasn't able to do much. But so at the 22-minute mark, my computer was down to 4%, and I thought, well, I don't want it to just power off because of the battery being down too low, because I thought at that point I'd probably lose the recording. So what I did is I hit pause and of course closed the computer, which put it in sleep mode, took it upstairs, plugged it in, flipped back on the episode I was watching on the Netflix series called Lost. Watched probably about a half hour or so of that, and then of course was scrolling on Instagram for a minute, watching some reels. And I thought, you know what, before I continue with the show I'm watching, I'm going to go ahead and go grab my computer and bring it back down here and keep going, So, and surprisingly, with only like 40 minutes upstairs, when I booted up my computer or, reopened back up, I'm at like 70%. So I'm like, hey, cool, all right. So I don't have to worry about it dying on me and losing what we have. So on to this week's topic: internet trolls, social media trolls, all that fun stuff. The inspiration for this topic kind of comes from, it's one specific person, but there are a lot of people like him. This is one guy that's, I guess, like somebody my wife went to school with, I guess, back in high school. I'll just give first name. So this guy, his name is Brian. He has, I'm trying to think of how what would be best, like what the best way to kind of explain this guy, kind of describe him. He's a MAGA, I believe. He hasn't come right out and said it, but I have a feeling. And has an opinion about everything. Like everything that has to do with politics. Especially like Aaron, because my wife, she'll post different things about, what's going on and with the Trump administration right now, and things that are being eliminated. I know my buddy Dave Goldberg basically says, like, well, there's checks and balances, because I joke with him, like, well, hopefully we don't have King Trump after 4 years, and Dave's like, well, there's checks and balances, and that prevent that kind of stuff. And of course I tell my wife that, she goes, yeah, but Trump is literally demolishing the checks and balances, like he's getting rid of all of that. So I'm like, yeah, I'm seeing that too. It's kind of what it looks like to me, but we'll see what happens, But my wife, see, I'm one of those like as you guys know, like I try my best on this podcast. One of the things I try not to do is talk politics or religion, because I know those are both very controversial, very sensitive topics. Like, there's people that if you talk about religion, oh my God, I'm not gonna, how dare you, blah blah blah, get offended, get upset, whatever. Same thing with politics. If somebody's a hard right MAGA supporter, but then somebody it's a Democrat, or even myself, independent, but we're not, if you're not a Trump supporter, oh, you must be far left, you're liberal, it's like, and I even did a Google search the other day. I said, why are Democrats described as liberals? And basically, a lot of different results came up. It's like, that I guess far left is like, communists, I guess, is what I was seeing some results online. But like right in the middle or a little bit left is more like, believe people should have rights, like everybody should have the same rights and all that stuff. I'd have to bring it back up to give you the specifics of it, because it's been a couple days, so I don't fully remember. But it basically, it's like, for the people, they think that everybody should have have the same rights. Like, should be a government of the people, by the people, for the people, all that stuff. But then you look at Republican, and like the further right you go, which the main Republicans that I know recently, hell, it's like, one of the drivers that I used to meet up with from Minnesota, when I'd meet up with them in Illinois, the husband of that team, he didn't come out and say it, but when I kind of talked about one of the candidates when they're going through the campaigning and stuff, he didn't end up, because I think it was like RFK Jr. or something, when he was on TikTok and was basically campaigning to try to become, I think he was trying to become an independent candidate at that point, but he didn't get enough support. And I know when I first heard about him, I thought he sounded like a good candidate, but then of course, started hearing more and more about him, then I wasn't really a big fan. But I mentioned him when I first heard about him. I mentioned him to the husband, part of the team duo from Minnesota or whatever. And of course he was like, oh no, he's like a left, like hard, like far left liberal, blah blah blah. But I didn't say anything, but I thought, oh, okay, I guess I guess this driver I'm swapping with is hard right, Trump supporter, whatever. But I was like, oh, okay, I'm not gonna, so I didn't say anything else, because of course, like, I try not to get into those conversations. I have some random people approach me, like some random drivers, like I'll be out there in Kodak. I think it's like on the election night, I was out in Kodak, and I had another driver. I was setting up my set of doubles, getting ready to come back with 2 empties, and I had another driver came in there. He was breaking down two loaded trailers, and he randomly came walking over to me, like, "Hey man, how's it going?" I'm like, "Oh, hey, not too bad. How are you?" Not bad. He's like, "Oh, so what do you think about this election?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'd rather not talk about it." He goes, "Oh well, man, I think things are gonna be great. Like things are so much better under Trump. Like the economy was better, blah blah blah." And another driver that drives for the same company I do. "Oh, my wallet was fatter under Trump." Okay, I that's where I still, I don't say it, but I'll think it, like, yeah, but that, you're giving credit to Trump for things that weren't actually Trump's doing. Like, things that were good under the Trump presidency were technically set in place by Obama, just like things that they're giving Biden crap for were put in place by Trump. So But, it's like too many people. I was telling the wife this earlier. Too many people, when it comes to politics, they just live in the here and now. Like, oh, things are really tough right now, so it's the current administration's fault. They're doing it. When they might not have. It might have actually been the guy, whoever was in place beforehand. So, but but kind of veering off a little bit. But on my wife's Facebook profile, she has this guy named Brian, high school buddy, not or high school but friend, or not even a friend, but somebody she knew from high school. But I swear, there's so many things that my wife has posted, and this guy comments on all of them, and it's always like not a, oh, that's interesting. No, it's a like 2-paragraph long response about, just complaining about, oh, that's Democrats being crybabies, liberal crybabies, and oh man, they're just upset that they lost or whatever. It's like, no, never any like. See, if it's one of those things where like me, if I'm gonna comment, if it's something like that's like highly debatable, highly controversial, something that there's a couple sides to, because if you're, there's people on both sides. There's Trump supporters that think that things are going to be amazing and Democrats have destroyed the country, whatever. Hell, my buddy Ricco, one of the things that he said, I'm pretty sure it's been it's been probably like 2 weeks since he and I were chatting about this, but if I recall correctly, he had made a comment that, well, bro, like, Democrats were the ones that actually supported slavery and stuff, like keeping slavery around or whatever. And I was like, yeah, but bro, like, if I'm correct in my understanding of how things work, the Democrats of old, back, that were like the Democratic Party from back then when slavery was around, are actually the Republicans now. Like, they switched. I believe that's the case. I got, I think my wife told me about it. I think you can look it up. So if you don't believe me, just Google it, But I believe that used to be the Republicans were what would be what would have been considered liberal back then, but now it's the Democrats that are considered liberal, that they, socialist, whatever. They want to have more for the people, whatever. Whereas the Republicans are more the, they want the rich to not be taxed as much, want to keep more of their wealth, but yet have the middle class, lower classes, and be the ones to pay the majority, a lot of the taxes or whatever. It's like, I mean, I see what a lot of stuff that's happening, and I'm thinking like different organizations, different departments, like Department of Education that's being basically eliminated. So I'm like, so how are people going to get college education if they can't afford it now? Like, unless it's gonna be privatized, private loans or whatever. Where they, I don't know, pay insane interest on their student loans. I don't know, but it's like a lot of different departments being gutted or being eliminated under the, the guise of, oh, we're getting rid of wasteful spending and blah, blah, blah. And I'm thinking like, yeah, but you have the richest guy in the world spearheading this, this process, getting rid of this department, getting rid of that agency, getting rid of this, getting rid of that, basically cutting back spending. It's like, yeah, but I guess I would feel better about it if it was somebody that was like one of us, like somebody middle class, even upper class, somebody that made, let's say somebody that made like close to 6 figures a year, but you still had to budget a little bit because, you don't have unlimited funds, you don't have unlimited resources. You can't just go out there and buy whatever you want. Case in point, look what Elon Musk actually paid for Twitter, and I think he gave Trump like $280 or $270 or something $million to support his campaign or whatever, and was giving away like $1 million to like $1 million a day to people that would either sign a petition or something on the X platform, saying that they were going to vote for Trump. Basically, buying votes, which, from what I understand, is illegal. But again, kind of ventured off. Sorry, but as far as the topic tonight, it's like this guy Brian on my wife's profile. It's always very, it's like, it's one thing if you see a response from somebody on people's profiles, on comment or on a Facebook posts, and they're like, you give examples like, hey, this is incorrect. Like, if I go on there, like, I have a friend, shout out to my buddy James from high school. Probably, I would say he's, even though we really haven't talked much in the past 20 years, we talked here and there. Like, he messaged me and I'll message back, and then we don't hear from, we don't talk for a while. But his mom is a very, very big anti-Trump person, and she's very vocal about it on Facebook. And it's interesting because it seems like her entire family, well, most of them, I see a couple comments that are in support of what she's, the things that she says, but a lot of her family, like her relatives or whatever, comment on her post about, like, they do the memes, Trump is your president. Okay, yeah, technically he is, because, we're Americans, we live here. He's the president of the country, but that doesn't mean we have to be fans or be supportive, but if all the checks and balances stay, don't get completely demolished or whatever, then in 4 years, it'll either be, well, I was going to say it'll either be JD Vance or someone else, but it'll be someone else in general, because in 4 years, he can't run again, supposedly, unless I know they had that one senator, I think it was from Tennessee, which I was kind of blown away by that a senator, I believe, or I don't think it was a congressman, I believe it was a senator, that tried to put some bill through to try to get a bill passed that would allow Trump to actually serve a third term. And, it's like, that's the start of getting a monarchy going on here, we'll see. That's why I'm like, well, we'll see in 4 years if we have another election and get another president, a new administration in there, or if it's going to be the Trump family is going to be the royal family at that point. So we'll see, but I still stand behind what I've always said, that as a whole, our country voted him into office, and so whatever happens, it's our fault. Like we asked for this. So, some of us individually did not, but as a whole we did. So, but with internet trolls, it's interesting that people will find it necessary, and find it, find it, I'm trying to think of the right, how to, it's like they find that it's necessary to jump onto every post they see that doesn't align with what they believe, and comment. I'm not offering anything like links, like here, like, oh, that's incorrect, you should check this out. Like, that's what I do. Like, if I, like with my buddy James and his mom, some of her posts, see it's like I'll see her relatives or whatever, oh, Elaine, you need to drop it, like, we put up with 4 years of your crap, and now, like, he's actually gonna make things, he's fixing the country or whatever. And like I'm just reading these comments going, like, how is he fixing the country? Like, what, like, you're saying this, but you're not showing any, and all you're saying is, well, Democrats destroyed the country the last 4 years. Okay, how did they do that? Like, how, like, you're just blowing a lot of hot air, you're just blowing a lot of BS. Like, show me proof, show me like actual examples of what you're claiming. But a lot of them can't. A lot of what people post, and not everyone, obviously, because there's some people that, oh, well, this happened It was done by the Democrats. This, that. Okay. I appreciate the example. Thank you. But a lot of them, I would say the majority of what I hear online when it comes to, MAGA supporters, MAGA Trump supporters, talking about like all the Democrats are just liberal crybabies, blah blah blah. They just cry because they lost, whatever. They can't like provide any examples, any proof, any evidence to what they're claiming. It's like if you're gonna stand, that's the problem. That's probably why, like, I was joking around with Ricco, saying that let's say all of a sudden I end up with decent financial resources. Let's say I end up with millions of dollars. I'm probably not going to be on Facebook or social. I mean, I might still be on Insta because I like Insta. But even though they're both owned by Meta, which but social media in general, I don't know if I'd still be around. I would still keep like Messenger, for instance, because I do talk to. There's like a handful of people I do talk to on Messenger, and obviously I'd be on my phone, text message, whatever. But I would probably not be online much as far as like posting. I would just disappear. I wouldn't even probably go buy a dream house, pay off all the debts, whatever, live out in a, build a cabin in the woods near a lake or whatever, and, fish every day or fish a lot, golf a lot, just kind of literally just enjoy life, take it easy. But I would still be out here doing the podcast. But as far as like social media, because it's like, I guess I'm different than a lot of people you see online where they just feel the need to argue about everything. Because that's what this Brian guy does, and I wanted so badly on like one of her last posts that she did where Brian commented or whatever, like a 2-paragraph response. It's like, I think her post was about like, I think it was about that new agency that Trump created out of thin air, the Doge or whatever, Department of Government Efficiency, whatever BS. I understand, like, oh yeah, we want to make sure that we rein in if there's things that are like frivolous spending or whatever. But if you're getting rid of like things like the Department of Education that helps people that can't afford to go to school actually get an education, which then helps them get a better job, helps them make more money, helps everybody wins. Because then they can actually pay back the loans too. But getting rid of stuff like that or whatever, and not really going after like the mega billionaires, corporations, whatever, that are working loopholes so that they actually, don't have to pay anything, but you got I'm sitting there trying, like, all right, let's see, because it takes a lot of energy, a lot of mental bandwidth, physical energy to like feel the need to argue about everything. And then like it's funny because like I don't see a lot of there's some Democrats that are complaining online about how things are, which things are bad, things are gonna get worse, unless it was, I just read something earlier that the Trump administration got rid of like 20 immigration judges, because one of the things I read was also that they're trying to do away with the birthright citizenship, which means that like people that were actually born here and are citizens because they were actually born here in the United States, they're trying to do away with that. Oh, they're actually from Mexico, but they were born here in the United States, but they're from Mexico, like their family was from Mexico, so we're gonna do away with that next and kick them out. It's like, but on the Constitution, they were born here, so they're legal citizens. Like they aren't on a green card. They were born here, so they should you know. But I'm trying to think. Her post was about something with like I don't think it was Musk, but it was somebody working under Musk that I think they call them doxed, where you post private information publicly to like in the attempt to like hurt somebody, like people's addresses and phone numbers, whatever, and then people that are obviously against that person, they can then reach out, death threats, whatever. And I think it happened to like some of the jurors, I think, in one of Trump's trials, or his trial. I'm not sure how many trials he's had, but I guess somebody in Elon's group, I guess, doxed the daughter of a judge, I guess, of the judge that I guess blocked them from being able to have full access to the benefits, like the Treasury or whatever, like Social Security or whatever. I guess they blocked it to try to keep them from having full access to like the checkbook, people that actually have paid into these benefits or they call them entitlements, but they're really it's like Social Security, like people pay into that, so that's something that they have a right to whenever they retire, because they've paid money into that and stuff. So, and I worry about like because I'm on VA disability for my service in the military because of a back injury. I worry about that, like I worry about that going away because of, well, yeah, we're paying all this money to all these veterans or whatever. It's like, yeah, well, we served our country, and so the VA is supposed to take care of us. Like that's just how it works. So I'm saying that, and I don't know if this is going to happen. I hope not, but that's something I worry about, But this Brian guy jumps on all her posts and has like a paragraph or two arguing about like, wow, blah, 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 Democrats this, Democrats that, liberal crybabies, whatever. And like I saw, when she posted about like this daughter of this judge, her information getting doxxed, getting posted publicly. Her argument was basically that, doesn't matter who it is, this is wrong, and he, like this Brian guy, jumped on her basically like, well, so like what about like Supreme Court justices, like their information get doxxed, blah blah blah. And there's somebody that replied to his comment like, this is a horrible comment, like this is not even the same thing, and it's like comparing apples to oranges. And Brian was like, no, this is like apples to apples, I don't know what you're talking about, and blah blah blah, and like another couple paragraphs. And I'm thinking like, I almost want to comment like, to my wife, like, Aaron, like, can you just like block this guy, get him off your profile, because all I see is like a troll. Like all he ever does is jumps on your posts and spouts Republican or whatever, or far right, like hate towards like anybody that actually wants to care about the people, because not all, like I said, not all Democrats are far left. Like a lot of them are more in the middle, a little bit left, whatever, because they still care. They want people, they do want the people to be taken care of. They want, everybody to pay their fair share of taxes, things to be on a more equal footing versus like middle and lower classes paying the bulk of the taxes. But then if you have, let's say you're a corporation or you're a billionaire, finding loopholes that make you not have to pay anything, but instead you're getting richer. Not saying that if you're rich you should have to pay all the taxes, but if you're expecting somebody that makes 100K per year to pay 25% or 30% in taxes, but somebody that has millions of dollars or billions of dollars, they can't put in stuff too, but they can file exemptions and this and that, whatever, and get be able to pay zero. Is that really a fair system? Again, not saying that the people that are rich that they should have to pay everything, because I don't believe that. But one of the problems with like as a like an entrepreneur, like if you file taxes as like a business owner, they say like, oh, you should put aside at least 30% because you want to make sure you're not just for taxes, but also like you gotta set aside money towards like Social Security and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, that just seems like a lot. Like, you gotta have a business doing really, really, really well to not stress about like, oh yeah, but a good percentage of the profits I make gotta go back to the government because, you know, gotta pay taxes and gotta pay Social Security, even if you're a sole proprietor. But you know, after reading what Brian had said on my wife's post, I was like, man, I was like stressing out because I really wanted to comment, because part of it was like one of his replies to this other guy that said like dude, like what the hell, like your comment was horrible, and you know, it's like apples to oranges, like you're, you know. And Brian was like, well, like, no, like most, like with this stuff, like I really don't care, and it's apples to apples. It's the same thing with the justices as well as this judge's daughter. It's the same thing, blah blah blah. But I really don't, like with stuff like this, I really don't care. And I'm thinking, I'm like, if you don't care, then why are you commenting? If you don't care, then why are you starting a fight about it? You know, like if you don't care, then move on, keep scrolling. You know, and that's the thing, guys. Like a lot of people out there will claim that, oh, I really don't give a crap about all this, but yet they'll start a fight about it. They'll jump onto people's posts multiple times, every post, just jumping on there, making comments, whatever. But I really don't care. Are you sure you don't care? Are you sure about that? Because I'm not getting the impression you don't care. I'm getting the impression that you want people to think you don't care, but then you're still on here on your soapbox making an argument for your case or whatever. So I messaged my wife and I was like, you know, I said that Brian on your post is a fucking troll. Sorry, freaking troll. And she's like, what are you talking about? And I was like, well, too much to type. I'm out here, I'm on the road. Because she was getting ready for work. It was like 6 a.m. at that point. I was like, give me a call when you get on the road to head to work. So a couple minutes later, she called, and I was telling her, I was like, I'm biting my tongue. I was like, because, you know, one, he said he didn't care, and yet he's sitting there arguing with this other person on your post. Two, on a lot of your posts about like, this is going on with the country, that's going on with the country, he jumps in there and has something to say, like has an opinion about it. She was, yeah, I've noticed that, you know, oh, well, you know, and I was like, yeah, well. So I was like, it just comes across as a troll because it's like he never posts anything like links or blah blah blah. It's always like, well, this is what, well, you know, it's just like Democrats just cried because such and such. Like, you know, like all I'm getting is that you hate Democrats. You think, well, the last 4 years were hell and now things are gonna get better, blah blah blah. It's like, you're not showing me examples on how the last 4 years were hell and proof that not we, but the Democrats, because I'm an independent, but evidence to back up your claim. You know, it's like if you're gonna argue a point, have some concrete stuff to actually, you know, back up what you're arguing. Don't just, oh man, well, the last 4 years I've had to put up with all the wasteful spending and our tax dollars being used for such and such or whatever. It's like, you know, the way things look right now, it's like we're going to be very isolated because I'm hearing stuff about like Trump wanting to invade Canada and invade Mexico. It's like Canada and Mexico probably I'm sure have allies that would back them up. And so I could totally see all of a sudden there being like a couple million troops on both borders ready to either invade into the United States or prepared for if we were to send troops across those borders. And it's like there's a movie I saw at one point. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but it was like North Korea had kind of like invaded the United States. I don't remember what it was called. It was a pretty good movie, but all of a sudden the White House was under attack and basically got like completely like destroyed. All the higher ups of the government basically got wiped out in like a single afternoon, and suddenly we had North Korean forces marching through cities in the East Coast, and then we had like retired military guys that basically like they weren't recalled because the government had basically been destroyed, kind of, but they they reactivated themselves and were fighting back. So like certain parts of the country had been taken over by the North Korean forces, not the whole country, but and then we were fighting back or whatever. But I could totally see something like that crap happening again because of the fact that we're a superpower, but because I think Trump pulled us out of like the World Health Organization. I think he pulled us out of like the Paris Climate Accord or something. I don't know if we're out of NATO, but acting like this big badass or whatever, renaming the freaking Gulf of Mexico, whatever. It's like, really, dude? It's like, come on, So it's like, are they really making America great again, or are we, because it feels like we're going back 50 years. Like I read something that talked about like basically trying to like reinstigate like segregation and basically do away with like women's rights, do away with like gay rights. Like we're one of the things that I was talking about with my bro Ricco. I was like, we have never been a white country. Like, yeah, we're white are the main main we're the I'm not even sure if the right thing to say would be like the main race in America, but we're the dominant one, I guess. But slowly the minorities like blacks, basically black, brown, Asian, are growing constantly in America and stuff. So like I've heard that there's a lot of I believe, especially on the Republican side, that are worried about eventually whites being more of a minority than anyone else, because of like because like blacks, Hispanics, Asian, those ethnic groups or whatever, growing to the point where they're actually bigger than like the white group, the white population. And so maybe trying to get rid of a bunch of people and doing everything they're doing, maybe that's their way of trying to prevent that. Hard to say, but it's just interesting. And again, apologies, this kind of was still a political episode a little bit, but I wasn't really trying to go there too much. Just mainly trying to talk about like especially with the Brian guy, just trying to just troll on people's posts, just constantly commenting, posting their opinions, and not really having anything to back it up. So it's like, oh man. But anyway, guys, I think I'll end it with that. But so again, apologies, didn't mean to offend anybody. If I did, hopefully I didn't. Hopefully you guys found some value in this episode and stuff. But glad to be back. It was a nice week off. I made the most of it. Yeah, like I said, I could have gone out there and DoorDashed even on the days I was supposed to work that I still didn't work. But I just still was like, what, screw it. I'm gonna hang out at home, relax, enjoy the time off, and next week, which is this week now, any downtime I have, I'll go out there and do some DoorDash. Like tonight, I went ahead and ordered a pizza bag from the DoorDash store. I mean, I've been getting some pizza orders when I've been DoorDashing, but supposedly it'll open me up to actually like get those on a more regular basis. Just like I got the red card, which is kind of like a credit card for DoorDash, so when I can do shopping orders now. So last Sunday I was on my way home and I went ahead and went online. Not this Sunday, but a week ago Sunday. I went online on my way home, and I did the dash along the way. And I got halfway home. I was probably near where my daughter works, and I literally just activated. I just got the DoorDash thermal bag, and my red card. So I went ahead and activated the red card and registered it on the Dasher app. And I got halfway home, and I got an order offer, I guess, because that's what they call them, offers, because you have the option to turn it down because it tells you how much you're going to make on that order. For Dollar General, I'm like, oh cool, a shopping order. Haven't done one of those yet. And so it was, funny thing was, it was Dollar General was right next to my daughter's work. So I wanted to text her, be like, hey, I'm shopping at the Dollar General like 100 feet from your store. She would be like, oh. But when I got to Dollar General, I was like, oh, so I guess I'm doing 2 orders here. Okay, awesome. So wasn't that bad. I was a little bit annoyed because especially if you're doing multiple orders, it just seemed like all the items you're shopping were like all together. But you can select each person that you're shopping for and see what items they're getting. So that's how I was able to separate them. So I had like one order separated on one part of the cart because they were only getting 4 items. The other person was getting like 8 items. So had them separated that way. I found as much of them as I could, substituted the ones that the customers actually responded to me on, refunded the ones that they didn't, because I was like, hey, they have this, would you like this instead? No response, so I said refund and moved on to the next item. And thankfully with that red card, you swipe the card and run it as credit, and of course it goes through, pays for the items, then you run the orders and go deliver them. So that was not a whole lot of work. Basically for the 2 orders, both those orders were like a mile away from Dollar General, so I was like, ran and delivered the first one, completed it, drove to the next one, dropped that one off at the front door, took a photo, completed that one, $10. I think I made like $5 on each one for the delivery. I'm like, not too bad, Would I have loved to make more? Sure, but didn't feel like it was a whole lot of work for $10, But then I went ahead and went home, so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna log off. But you know how it is. Doing what I gotta do. So anyway, guys, on that note, you know what I always say, keep pushing forward, keep believing, believe you can, believe you will, and you're already halfway there, and then you just have to go out there and do it. Also, anybody that would like to support the show, please feel free to go to blodgetshow.com/support. You can either subscribe for a monthly option, or you could do a one-time donation for as little as $1. Anything and everything is greatly appreciated. Thank you so much. And just keep doing what you gotta do, guys. That's all you can do. But I'm actually curious tonight when I work, because Tuesday night, earlier this afternoon, I was getting alerts on my phone for a winter storm warning, and I'm like, oh, really? And I'm looking outside going, it's like clear and sunny. So what the hell are you talking about? But I looked at the date. It's like Tuesday night from 9 p.m. till Wednesday at like noon, 4 inches of snow, blah blah blah. I'm like, huh. And our area down here, Nashville, completely shuts down whenever we get a winter storm. People can't drive in it, so everything literally like businesses closed, people stay home. And I'm like, yeah, but that's during when I'm actually going to be working, so how is this going to go? So, but I'm going to plan on going in, and we'll see what happens. Maybe my boss will text me, be like, FedEx is shutting down, so come in tomorrow. I'm like, okay, maybe that'll mean I'll be working instead of like possibly not working Thursday or Friday. Maybe I would be off tomorrow night or Tuesday night, but then actually work on Thursday. And maybe Friday, usually it's only a half shift on the paycheck because I come in so late, so anything you get done by midnight is on that check, but anything starting that you pick up and get loaded and dispatched after midnight is on the next check. So we'll see what happens, but I'm very curious. If it's just 4 inches of snow, no ice, whatever, as long as conditions you can see, whatever, okay, cool, I can deal with it, but I'm curious to see how things are going to go as far as driving goes. So, but anyway, y'all, that's pretty much all I have for you tonight. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and as always, I will talk to you on next week's episode of Real Talk Tuesday. You guys have a good rest of your week, and I'll talk to you later. Have a good one.